No freaking idea. Oh, hang on. Fuck, that's hot. I just put my foot on I got a new heater because my other heater broke. And I just put my foot on it and it just burnt my leg again
Generally
through the
find
jeans.
not putting body parts on a heater is a good
Oh,
idea.
because the problem is when I'm not using
Yeah.
it, I just I use it as a leg rest.
Ah.
But the biggest problem is when am using it,
Yeah,
um,
it's not a smart idea,
I,
but
I forget that it's not a leg rest,
right.
and then I burn my sexy calves.
Dorks down under.
And on that note,
On that note, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to season 2, episode 22. 22, because you're doing it 21.
am I?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
you're 20. You're on 21. It's my week. It's 22. Hello. So welcome to the podcast. This is Dogs Down Under. I am your host Jay. Joining me with my co-host Dez, all the way over in Australia, and
I loves.
this is the podcast where we discuss generally mainly dorky things as well as geeky nature, and generally talk about what we've been up to and stuff like that. And I'll tell you now, mine has been a very, very boring week. I have been down with a cold. I probably still have a bit of a. It might be coming across a little bit in my recording, but we will deal with
The
it as best we can.
sexy husky voice.
It was worse on Monday. I will be honest. Like on Monday, it was like proper deep, and like I was like a death's door, man. You know, I literally my boss rung because I messaged him saying, "Boss, I'm not going to come to the office this week because I'm not fit. You know, I've got a bad cold." And then he rung me and he heard me. He was like, "Yeah, you stay at home. You stay at home. We don't want you anywhere near this office in any way, shape, or form." And I'm like, "All right, totally understand." Totally understand.
So it's like it makes sense. You sound like shit.
Yes, it's but it's one of those things. I don't mind. The fact is, I have a good working relationship with my boss, and they're very open and honest with each other on those matters. But
I
yeah,
love it. He's like, on the sound of 1 to 10, you sound like shit.
what about yourself, Des? Have you had anything fun or exciting this week?
No, except for so I was cleaning up my room because I had just a day to myself. Where I'm like, I'm just gonna clean up because I've got crap. No, it's not really crap everywhere, but I've got a whole heap of boxes that I keep moving from one house to the other, and I know roughly what's in them, but I'm like, some of this stuff has to clean, and I found some old hard drives.
Oh, oh,
Yes.
oh,
No, not like ooh, like I found all my old OnlyFans stuff. No, nothing like that. Nothing that weird.
You found your old Bitcoin server machines.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, I found this cassette tape saying "Do not tape over," and then in the bottom it had XXX. I don't know what that was, but
Don't know.
I might
Must be
watch it
code for
later.
something. Must be code for something, Des.
That's what I reckon. It's probably like three words that start with X that for whatever reason is going to bring back
You're
memory.
obviously being too smart for your own good, and you obviously came up with such a codified coding system that you're like, yeah, no one will understand this. It'll be fabulous.
Yeah, no one will understand, not even me. But yes, but yeah, no. And to my pleasant surprise, so I used to live with a dude that I went to uni with called Big J. About 6'2", about 160 kilos,
God,
big lad, big lad.
Big J indeed. Jeez.
Yes, like not like Little John kind of thing, like, but he was like, well, he probably could have been called Little J because he's got that thing. But actually, no, I think he's 6'3", big dude though. And me and him had this unhealthy love affair for sci-fi movies. You know, the ones that were actually on the sci-fi,
Oh yeah, and
the
sci-fi.
sci-fi channel.
Yeah. So you've mentioned this Jay before. This is the same guy that you would binge watch
Yeah, this
sci-fi
is the
movies.
same dude.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah. No, you've mentioned him in passing.
I think so. Yeah, and there's oh man, I found so many movies. So and one of them just made me laugh because we were obviously talking about, I think it was Police Academy at the last episode or the episode before,
Oh, Police Academy. Yes.
and and this one has Steve Guttenberg in it, obviously the guy that plays Mahoney.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow it got a sequel, which kind of also, in a way, ties back to the Fast and the Furious, which we did about 3 episodes ago.
Yeah.
So it's called Lava Lantula.
Oh God. Laugh a lot.
And
Oh.
in the aftermath, and I'm just going to read it out, in the aftermath of a violent eruption of a volcano, fire spitting whatever that is.
Tarantulas.
Tarantulas, emerge, endangering the city and its people. A man must find a way to kill the queen before it's too late. And it has Steve Guttenberg in it. It has that fat ranger, curly head dude from Sandlot Kids. It's got Mia Pebbles that was in the later series of Walker, Texas Ranger.
Wow.
So it's got a whole heap of high quality people.
Yes, it sounds high quality, certainly.
And so I obviously watched it. And then in the same one, I also found its sequel.
Oh my god.
And the name of its sequel, I think it came out, I think it may have got some love from Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
And it's called To Lava, To Lantula.
We're going to swiftly move on from this, ladies and gentlemen. I did
manage to watch that last night.
Oh my god. It sounds
and
so bad.
3 hours of my life that I have never been happier.
You know, to each their own, Des. To each their own.
Oh man!
Anyway,
but it's just great. Like there's
so
many stupid shark films, so many horrible things, and I found a whole heap of them, and it just makes me happy. Including a whole heap of megas and stuff. Oh man, it was great.
Listen, if that makes you happy, Des, that's fine. That's completely fine. You're
weird,
does. But it's fine, Des. You know,
it does. It makes me so happy. Ow!
But anyway, Des, I did give you a little teaser for what I wanted to quickly give an update on for all the ladies and gentlemen at home who have been following us nattering about it. Is the One Ring has been found, ladies and gentlemen? One of one. It has been confirmed. It got pulled in a store in Canada.
In Canada?
Yeah, in Canada. Yeah, it was a store in Canada. I know I misread it. The person who pulled it, I believe, is from Ohio, and he's a cousin of a local of a store regular who came. So obviously, I would want to ask: is it okay to murder your cousin to get the card?
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine taking your cousin, like say for example, you've taken Eddie to the shop, you've bought him a couple of packs, you've bought a couple of packs, and he opens it. Like, do you all of a sudden become a childless couple?
I mean, it is certainly a good question, isn't it? I mean, obviously,
or do you just take him to Games Workshop and say, I will trade you this card for any 5 box sets
for the store
in this store,
give me the store,
and just let him go nuts. Because to be fair, as an 8-year-old kid, if I was into 40K, I would literally be like, screw it, take the piece of cardboard. I want 5 boxes.
So the card itself, so from what I understand, I got a little update today, sort of thing, and just to see what was going on. The card itself has been graded by PSA because Beckett, the other grading company, is it Beckett? I think.
Yeah, Beckett's one of them.
Beckett
and SGS is another.
Yeah, but basically Beckett, when they obviously had the before the search was going on, they said, "Oh, we will grade it for free. Goes the thing. We'll give you a special case and a storage carry system for it, and all this jazz." Basically, because they wanted the privilege and prestige of, "Oh, give it to us, so we can."
Makes sense.
But the person's gone with PSA because obviously PSA is the bigger company. And obviously, you know, it's not like he had to wait. Of course, it's this massively expensive card and it got pushed to the front of the line.
Oh, yeah.
Only came out as a 9, though. Only a 9 on the grading system.
That's one thing that shocked me is that it got a PSA 9. I'm like, this is the
thing, right? As we discussed when they first announced the card, and we talked about this on the podcast, saying, look, it's great that they're going to do it. You know, and blah, blah, blah. Everyone's going to get hyped. Everyone's going to go buy collector's packs and play the lottery because why not? You know, you might as well. But one thing we both brought up is, what if the card gets damaged in the packet or somehow, you know, or like from the machine or anything like that? And I think I said that it'd be better if they had like a token in there that could get you to redeem. You know, you contact Wizards and they're like, oh, congratulations, you found it. Where do you live? We'll get it shipped to you. Do you want it graded now, or do you want it sent to you then graded? and blah blah blah, and he would have been like, yeah,
Which
I think
which would make sense because I don't think I have any here, but if you give me 2 minutes, I can find. Doesn't matter. But in most, so my brother is obviously mad into cards. I really like wrestling, and there's been a couple of really nice wrestling sets that have come around. So literally, what I've done is in those wrestling ones, you actually open what they call redemptions, and it comes up and it says the set, the card, the name of the wrestler, the card number, and then what happens, it has a code that you scratch it out, and then you obviously, from that, you then put it into a machine and they specially do it for you. But so it's not like something weird, and Panini, for unknown reason, and I don't know why, but I shouldn't say this until I get all the cards that I've got on redemption, but they will ship them anywhere in the world FedEx, so they get there in like 2 or 3 days.
yeah. No,
Which is weird.
I mean, to be fair, the fact is that, as we well know, they still use a printing press to do all these cards. So
Yeah.
there's always going to be a chance it wasn't going to be a 10 anyway. Let's be honest. But
it just feels weird. Like
yeah.
you'd think this is a one of one. Like print it on its own special card sheet. Make sure it's centered. Take it out perfectly. Or even then, you kind of go, did Panini just do this to be a bit of a douchebag? Like, come on, guys, you could have quite easily just given it a 10. It's the only one that's ever going to be around.
They do grade him. I think in the higher grades they grade him 0.5, or I think even between 9 and 10 it's 9.1. 9.
No, Panini normally doesn't.
Oh, okay.
They're SGS do, and Beckett, I think you can actually ask them to. And then also, I think with Beckett and also SGS, you can actually get a subgrade. So what will actually happen is it'll say 9.5, and then it will say corners 10, surface 9,
Center
and then so you can tell exactly.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so you can see where you screwed it up.
Okay.
But yeah, like, man.
But yeah, so obviously from this, the person's name has not been yet announced. The store who initially, the story was that obviously the guy was well excited and tweeted it, but then that tweet's disappeared, so no one knows. It's kind of, the store tweeted it, but then it's been kept quiet since. But obviously, that person who runs that store is getting a banner made and a plaque up on the wall saying the one ring was pulled here. Because you'd have to.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Like the same thing happens when, like, how many times do you go past like a Tatslotto place or like a Lotto center, and it says 7 Division 1s done here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we've had someone's won 150k from this store. Yeah, and all that jazz.
Yeah,
it's understandable. But the last bit of information was all the finance guys have saying the same thing, which is no one knows what he's doing with the card. Apparently, the 2 million offer was just a lot of hot wind, basically.
Oh really?
From what it sounds like, I think obviously, if he was maybe in, because I think it was in Spain, that was a store that was doing it. I think if they were in Spain, then the hot wind might have burnt themselves on that one. But yeah, apparently it was. But so at the moment, that the highest offer that's been on the table is $1 million. And that's from Dave and someone else, sort of thing.
Yeah, Dave and Adams, I think it is.
Yeah. So $1 million is a definite real world possibility. But the fact is, personally,
I must say that it's a bit dodgy.
If this guy is obviously into Magic, he could easily sit on this card and just wait until he wants a ridiculous amount for it.
And that's the thing though. Like, I reckon what you could do now is just hide it away.
Yeah. Although to be fair, it was hilarious. Literally, I found, because obviously it popped up on my newsfeed yesterday, and I think I told you quickly, and then immediately I started noticing on like NZMTG Bazaar. Oh, I have a collector's box for sale at a reasonable price. Like, I wonder why. Yeah.
That's a problem though. Like, and that was the one thing about this set. We did say this when we spoke about it probably about a month, 2 months ago, when we went into it. Is that the second it's found, mate, product is just going to be like almost thrown out.
Product has lost all its value, and that's the reason why we kind of said that. Literally, so many finance guys would have said, they would have paid you more. Just don't say a word. Be quiet.
Yeah.
I will buy the card off you. I'm going to give you an extra 500k. Do not say a damn word.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
And it makes sense, and that's the thing though. Like that's the one thing that I was like what do you do? Like do you pretend? Do you hide it? And it must say like I think what's happened, and I'm also curious. Did it get open in a pack, or
Yeah.
like I said, did it get open in a gift pack?
Well, no one knows the full details yet. I'm assuming at this stage it's a pack, maybe not a gift box sort of thing, but we'll find out because normally the gift boxes are mainly like Walmarts and stuff, aren't they? Sort of thing.
Oh,
I mean, no,
most of the shops
I
here.
know that some LGSs get them. Don't get me wrong, but I know they tend to be sold more at like box stores in the States and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It won't obviously, hopefully by next week we'll have all the details. But you know, it's good to know it's been found. It's it's sad that we didn't pull it, but you know, we'll take a win. We'll happily take a win.
Yeah.
It's no problem. It was good fun.
I'm glad, and to be fair, it did garnish a lot of hype, and I think that for any other reason other than the fact that this is a set that I love. Like as I said, I went to that media event, and I had an absolute ball. We had one of the guys from the PR company who had dressed like Gandalf and literally spoke like Gandalf and called everybody young hobbits for the entire time, which was absolutely brilliant. The set is just so on point, and to be fair, I'm glad that it's getting the hype that it is, even if it is for maybe for this one card, but it's also causing a lot of people to buy the product. And to be fair,
All right.
I'm okay with that.
Now, obviously, I think Wizards can't pull this every year. Obviously, so
No,
like they can't do it with the next Somerset or anything like that. Well, sorry, for us it's a winter, but you know the Somerset.
yeah,
I don't think. I think this is like every maybe 3 to 5 years. I think they could pull this trick out of the bag, sort of thing, and go, "Oh, we're doing this set, and it's a
that being
one-off."
said, though, I would be okay if they never did it again.
Oh yeah, no,
Like I know that they
Oh
might,
no, they
but
will. They will. You know what's going to happen. The Hasbro board is going to go. Ooh, this set sold really well. Why was that? Because it will have gone over their heads that there was one card. You know, it's like, oh yeah, no, we know there's the one ring. No, there was this one special card, and everyone was chasing it, and that's the reason why the sales
like
were
I
so good.
get that, but the whole reason why it was because, like, for example, if you had like a Teferi 1 of 1. I don't think it would. I think maybe it may get the hype in the actual industry, but I don't think it'll get the outside hype. Where I think the thing that was so smart about this was the set is so Lord of the Rings that it makes me like tear up. The fact that it is the One Ring,
Yeah.
it goes with the brand so well.
Yes.
And I feel like that's the reason why this worked as well as it did. And I am afraid that if they decide to do a 1 of 1 Teferi or a 1 of 1 Nissa or like a 1 of 1 special land destruction deck.
What are you on about?
That
I already gave you deck lists in Pauper. You've got them, and I've even made one.
Oh yeah, I've got one. It's it's here. I know it's somewhere. It's in this mess here.
For those of you, who don't know, me and Dez obviously played Magic the Gathering on and off,
What?
on and off.
We were actually
yeah.
I was going to say weirdly to also say we were actually friends before this podcast. I know it's hard to believe, but yes,
I know it's shocker. I know. I mean, why I would hang out with a handsome fellow like him? You know, it's amazing. He takes me into his presence.
That's what I do. What I do.
But basically, from your previous podcast hosting days on Rather Be Drafting and coming on my Magic podcast as well.
Was it hosting or was it just me being there and asking dumb questions?
I think it was mainly that. But basically, the one thing me and Des do bond over is land destruction decks and how agreeable it is to run them. There's nothing wrong with it.
I love them. And even what was weird though is at this event, I was talking to one of the Wizards guys that had come down from Sydney. Awesome dude. And I'm like, man, I just wish there was more land destruction. And he's like, oh, I hate land destruction. I'm like, it's fun for what it is. I'm like, I've actually got a Pauper land destruction deck that my mate made me, and it's ridiculous and it's dumb, and I love every minute of it, and I want to play it more. And he just rolled his eyes, and I'm like, hey man, aren't you meant to be supporting my hobby? And he just went, nah. And I'm like, makes sense.
No, the general consensus of the community is We belong in the evil book. We definitely do not deserve to be playing the game. Even though it's part of
I
the
don't care.
original strategy of the game, that's not my problem. If Wizards
Yeah, I know.
hadn't invented it, they shouldn't have put it in the game. And therefore it would not get abused by people like me and you.
I also love the thing that I love about it too, though, is you can play it in like Pauper,
I don't.
which don't have a lot of these like really big like you can't like destroy lands in it as much, or you don't have like heaps of enchantment like killing decks or things like this, and all these things are sorcery spells, enchantment, blow up land, blow up land, and it is horrible,
I'll explain for
and
the
I
viewers
don't
at
care.
home, for those of you who aren't aware. So, Magic the Gathering has many different formats that you can play, and one of them is called Pauper. The reason why it's called Pauper is you're only allowed to use cards that have ever been printed at common. Hence the reason why it's called Pauper. Now,
Hashtag cheap decks, baby.
hashtag this is an eternal format. So, if a card was once a common, like say modern days now, it's considered an uncommon or even a rare, but if it originally was printed as a common, it will be legal. Now, there is a banned list for good reason because things like Goblin Grenade, 1 mana, sacrifice a goblin, deal 5 damage to any target, and generally that's your opponent's face, you know, is a bit wrong, especially for 1 mana. You know,
I don't know if it's completely wrong. It's
oh
more
no, it is. It can be abused so easily, and it's not even funny. The amount of games I have won just in modern with Goblin Grenade because it's legal there is hilarious. It's like top deck, win. It's the amount of times.
great. I just think it's good.
Yes.
I think it's what needs to happen.
But yeah, so Pauper, great format. It's one of my personal favorites. I've been livid. Literally, there's been 2 Pauper tournaments. Literally, the last 6 weeks or the last 6 weeks I've been in the house.
Yeah.
Every single time I've found about it, I'm like, yes. No, why is it that weekend of all weekends? It's literally, I literally keep missing it because there's like, oh, it's Ellie's birthday weekend. It's Ellie's birthday day. It's the housewarming day. It's like, just
Damn it, Ellie! Stop being born on pauper days.
just let me play. And then, funnily enough, one of the stores who runs it, normally they get quite a good turnout for it because obviously it's pauper. It's a very cheap format. Everyone enjoys playing it. And yes, I'm the sliver guy. I'm that guy, and I'm sorry for all that. Anyone who plays in Hamilton,
Sorry,
I am very
not
sorry.
sorry.
I am that player, and I do apologize. But one of the stores put a thing out saying, as a survey, saying, "Oh, we've noticed a dip in our tournaments. Is it, what's the reasons why?" And they listed a few, and literally I selected the one that said, "Didn't find out until it was too late." So it's like, yes. Give me more notice. If I have like a week or two, if I have like 2 weeks notice on a tournament, I can generally swing things around. But yeah, it was just bad luck the last 6 weeks. And then
Because I do have a pauper deck. I'm honestly
I
not
know you've got
100%
one.
sure
I
what it
made
is.
you one. I sent you it. And
Yeah, you sent it to me, and I bought the cards. I know that.
yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out where I put it though.
Oh,
That's right, because this area is what I'm cleaning next this week. And I'm gonna have to find it. But yeah, I do want to play it, even if we have to get on spell table or if I have to move this thing down. We should play a game just because it's funny.
we will. We will, but I'm gonna have to make room on my desk. I don't know if you saw the picture I sent you.
Yeah. There's not a lot of room.
All right. Yes, my desk. All right. For those of you. Joining us through the audio waves, ladies and gentlemen, obviously you will know I got a box of Leviathan, which is the new 10th edition core rules, and
Which makes sense because you did tell me about how you liked huffing glue all of a sudden.
I tell you what, it's a smell that tell you what, it takes me back. It's nice. It's nice. It's nice having the smell of plastic glue again around. But yeah, no, today it was like today because obviously the weather's been crappy all weekend. This over here in New Zealand, so I was like this afternoon. I was like, Ed, do you want to start building? And he was like, yes. So we've built.
I was going to say no. Yeah, no, I don't want to start building. Yes, he does.
So he's done his first 3 Space Marines. I've helped him with that. So he's got the captain, the librarian, and the apothecary done for him. And I've just done my Tyranny Prime sort of thing and broke it. Anyway.
So is that just building, or
That's just building,
is
yeah.
that
Because
painting?
I'm gonna get them all built first, and then I need to crack on. I'll tell you, it's weird. I will admit that I do like the new starter set sprue designs. I.e., oh, all the model is on this. Great. So I've just got to find this one sprue, and I know it's here.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's kind of
because it
cool.
used to be, you used to get about 3 or 4 big sheets, like like the you used to have like 2 of these together, and so you'd have to
Yeah.
fight. You have about 3 sheets, and you look and you keep going up and down, going, yes, all right, it's on this one. So I do like now. Yes, there's a lot more smaller sprues, but it's like, oh, I found. There we go. I found. Here's my big gribbly guy. Job done. Crack on. Right, right. I know all the parts are on this. Great, but it is a bit. I mean, it's just a bit annoying, like, so, because obviously they use now honestly, it's like a clip system, so you can just
Yeah,
push
because
you can just
that's
push
that's
them
that's
together
what a
with
few.
no glue, which is fine, but you're not going to do that. And I didn't realize that the pegs that for their feet are hexagonals until too late, because I tried twisting the model and the legs snapped. Because of course
Oops.
it's a hexagonal hole, not a round hole, so it wouldn't swivel. Anyway, these things happen. It's okay.
Oopsie. Yeah, no,
We
because a
fixed
few
it.
people have said. Yeah, because a few people have said that some people are loving the click together because it just makes it easier, and then some of them are like, yeah, I hate it. And I think it depends on where your level of skill is, because I know like Pete the Wargamer, who's a YouTuber that I really like. They pretty much go like, we've seen you the brand new model of like, I don't know, like this great space marine, and he's like, I'm gonna turn it into an orc, and you're like,
Yes.
how?
Oh no.
And
Yeah.
it
I did. I loved it when he took. Was it the lion? And he made it Conrad Kurz.
Yes, that was the last one I
And
think you
I was
just
like,
watched.
oh my god, this is immense.
But the thing that makes me laugh though is the fact that it is actually Games Workshop that is sending him out these miniatures. So he's actually getting sent. So he's like, here, they're like, here you go. Here's a package. Go
Here's
nuts.
the lion.
And
It's like,
then
oh, thank you.
and then
Here, I'm gonna build
and then
Conrad
it's like
Kurz.
it's like, but it is. It's like here's the brand new model of X, and you're like, fantastic. I'm not making X for shit. And I'm like, wait, what? And then he makes something completely different. But that being said, though, he is so skilled. But yeah, even he was saying he's like, I've got to take off these nibs and take off this because the new one is clicked together. Which is yeah, which is
I can see it is a bit weird. I think if you're an old wargaming veteran, then it's like, oh my god, where's the pausability? Although the starter models were never designed for pausability, but you could always
yeah,
like, right, if I just cut this and then I can twist this and do that, and then it looks completely different. Whereas now it's like, no, 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 it is going to be in this position, and you're going to like it and tough.
or not. Yeah,
It's like,
you,
god
yeah.
damn it.
There's no ifs, buts, or maybes
If
about
buts and
it.
maybes, it's like you have to build a model, then you have to cut it apart, and it's like, oh, I don't want to do it as I'm building because it's easier, sort of thing. So it is one of those things. But I think for a starter though, for someone who's brand new, because Eddie found it quite understandable, and it's like, oh yeah, click, click, do this, the dab of glue here, push, sort of thing. But yeah,
Yeah,
it is good.
and it
It
is.
does look good though. I will admit the models look really good, sort of really sweet.
Yeah, well, there's a whole heap where I saw this thing online where people were making these jokes, and it's just like Leviathan set, and it had like eBay, and then it had this massive wave that had like and it was a joke, and it had Tyranids, and it's just swamping eBay. But I'm like, I've had a look, and don't get me wrong, like, do I think that the Space Marine miniatures are awesome? Yes,
Yes.
but
The,
but I'm a big fan of Tyranids, and there's a paint thing that I found probably about 8 years ago, and I've always wanted to do myself a Tyranid army,
mm,
and I'm like I'm tempted that if they are cheap enough, I may buy a couple just because there's a style of painting that I found on this tutorial on some random website that I can't even remember what it was. I think I was googling a list and I couldn't find the actual list, but
yeah.
then that came up with this paint style, and I was like, that's kind of awesome. And I'm like, I want to try that. And I haven't done it ever since. And then I kind of haven't been as into painting. And then obviously had my anger marines because I needed to paint it up and
Mm.
stuff. So I was like, eh. And though my next army, I really want to do an orc army. I'm really tempted that if the price is right,
Generally,
I may actually do a
the way it always goes is the two armies that are being featured in the starter set will be the cheapest armies for the current thing, because everyone gets the starter set and they're like, oh yeah, I want to be Marines, definitely, great, fab.
Yeah.
I don't want the Tyranids. Right, fine, I'm going to sell them. Great, fab. Says there will be a Tyranid player who will go, yes, please.
Yeah.
Because they know they need more of Termagants. They need Homagor. They need all these gribbly things because you just got to spend so much money on them. But I'd say it is quite. I mean, the models look really good in this starter set. They look
Yeah.
fabulous. I tell you what, as well, I'm not having to clean up as many mold lines that I used to have to.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Actually, so that's one thing I will agree with this clip system, because normally, obviously, it used to be, oh, it's a solid body, and you used to have that massive mold line. So you used to have to, just get the Exacto out, and it's like scrape along, job done, boom, sorted.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, because obviously this is the half, his is the half, and the mold line, they've actually looks like they put most of the mold lines to go in naturally. One of the ones I'm not a fan of, and I've got a feeling it's going to feature, because obviously I built my Tyranid Prime, the first, the leader guy, and
Yeah.
the way his body wears, it doesn't quite fit. The carapace isn't like one. It looks like it's obviously because it's clicking together, and it's not.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm going to have to do with him is get a bit of liquid green stuff and just go over the gaps a little bit, and I'm hoping it's just him, but I've got a suspicious feeling that all the other Tyranny models are going to be the same, and it's going to be like, oh god. But
I must say though, liquid green stuff is the best stuff ever. Like, that was really clever, because I remember trying to do green stuff one day, and you're rolling it into a little line and you're trying to get it in, and it literally just looks like the world's messiest weld whatsoever. And you just like, how did it literally looks like my chubby fingers trying to do something like paint eyes. It just looks ridiculous.
Oh yeah, no, it is, but yeah, if you definitely are going to be wanting a Tyranid army, I mean, you'll probably be able to pick up, I reckon, 2 or 3 of the starter set for as cheap as buying a full starter set itself.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, which would be pretty.
Well, it is weird. Like, there's a guy on there at the moment that says Leviathan for sale is on eBay, and he actually has the individual models for sale.
Yeah.
So the dude with that cool knife that I actually really like from the thingo, Lieutenant. Yeah. No, he's just got a knife and he's just pointing. He's like, all right, loves. And then he kind of looks like he has like a chainsaw, almost like a Gears of War one. And it's on there for like $27. And I'm like, that's kind of a cool model.
Yeah. But if you want that, great, fab. It does work out, sort of thing. But yeah, it is good. I just wish there was a little bit more pausability, or the potential of pausability. But
there never is with these starter sets.
It's just one of those things. But to be in saying that as well, I still cannot decide on a colour scheme that I want to go with my nids, with the gribblies.
Oh, mate, hang on. Maybe you know what I should do? I should find you that paint scheme that I was talking to you about.
It's going to be so good, and I'm going to go, Dad, why have you shown me this?
Okay, I won't then. Screw you.
I was explaining to Edward as well, because he was asking what the difference is. Obviously, we'd be building his 3 character models. He was like, so what is the difference between these? And I said, wait, well, this is your captain, he's your leader, blah 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 blah. So when you're painting him, you paint him whatever colour scheme you want, and all the other Marines match. But the librarian and the apothecary don't. And he said, why? And I went, because the librarian's always a blue, because it's like a bluey purple, because they have to stand out in the battlefield, because they're psychic powers and all this jazz. And I said, what about the apothecary? He's your healer, so he's going to be in white. So he's white, and he paints his shoulder pad so we know which chapter he belongs to. And he's like, oh, that sounds cool. So he's really actually enjoying building. Wait till we start doing the play. I've decided the way I'm going to teach him to play is we're going to do like a crusade. So we're going to start off with, it's going to be his standard Space Marine squads on patrol and they bump into the NIDs.
You know what's annoying though? Eddie's probably going to know how to play better than I do.
Probably.
So, as we've spoken about before, so I obviously help with the TO thing of ARC 40K, which is a big tournament down here. I've actually been in one tournament which I placed 3rd in with my Angry Marines, and thank the gods I played against Scooter, who was a mate of mine. What's his name? Big. He was one of these players that he's very loud, he's obnoxious, but he means really well.
Okay.
Matt Jackson is his name, and you can always hear him. Like if you're playing a game against him, it is hella fun because he gets well excited.
Okay.
And against him, I had to give one of my characters like a depth charger, and then I had to throw it at his building. And if I brought down his building, I got certain points, and it was all good.
Yeah.
So I dropped my drop pod down. My command squad came out and obviously shot a whole heap of shit. And I had given my depth charger to a Terminator, who was also deep striking in on the drop pod because it had a homing beacon. So it just went boom.
Yeah. Okay.
I drop potted 2 inches away from this building, which was the minimum you could throw it,
Yep.
and I threw it that way. The problem is I was playing against guard, and I obviously then threw it, and it blew up, and obviously didn't hit any of my guys. I think it clipped my drop pod, and but it hit 3 of his tanks, and he only had 1 other tank on the board. So it destroyed a whole heap of players, his 3 tanks, and then the building was still standing there. So I'm like, I've got these giant hammers and storm shields on these 2 squads of Terminators. I'm just going to whack it. So I brought it down because you could put people on top. He had about 8 or 10. No, he had a squad of people on top.
Yeah.
So as it brought it down, it killed all the people in his squad. So then I had my command squad, my 2 tanks, my whirlwind and thunderfire cannon just bombarding from the thingo, and then
The building still stands.
my range, yeah, and then my rangers on top of this thing, just popping things at this thing, and then it just walked up to the other tank, blew it up, and then just walked through his guys, and I got super lucky. Scooter and I match, we got super lucky where we were both on a objective. I managed to take out 3/4 of his team, and they ran off the objective, which means I held more objectives and I won. And then there was one other game where he had a librarian and 5 guys, and then he was going to bring on the other guys deep strike. And in the first round of shooting with my rangers, with my command squad, they had melter guns, with my thunderfire cannon and stuff, I actually killed his librarian and the 5 Terminators with him. And then that was my turn 1. And then I'm like, okay, cool. So now you're going to bring down your other guys? He's like, no, bro, that's game. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, because there's no one on the board. That's it.
Yep.
You've killed everyone on the board.
Yep.
So it's a board wipe. I'm like, but I've only killed like 4 models or 5 models. He's like, yeah, that's end.
That's the risk when you run things in reserve. If you have a terrible turn 1, it just It was. I mean, there was that story years. Oh God! It was when I was.
You do, and just FYI, that whole game went for 7 minutes. So we were able to actually play a game where he didn't leave him in reserve and was able to play him. But that game went for 7 minutes. And I still, to this day, until I've actually talked it out with one of the guys at ARC, I had no idea what the bloody hell that was, because I'm like, it still doesn't feel right. He's like, no, that's right.
Yeah,
like,
no,
really?
it is. Well, it was there was a tournament. God, we're talking probably now about 15 years ago. It's got to be 15, something like that. It was in the UK, and I think it was. I can't remember what the guy was playing. I think the guy was playing Orcs. No, it wasn't Orcs. It was no, he was playing Guard, and he was versing Blood Angels. And Blood Angels had a special rule at the time that allowed to put all their forces in reserve, and they could special attack on from the back. So basically, sweep on. But basically, the guy had an idea, and he was like, so he laid out all his models and squads, and basically laid them out so they were all in squad unity along the back edge of the board. So, which then meant that it came to special actions, he couldn't approach onto the board without being within a certain distance of models, which is illegal, and therefore it was a turn 0 win.
So just by deploying like a jackass, he literally blocked this jackass rule.
Because Blood Angels were OP at the time. They had this stupid rule. This guy was like, well, I think this works that way. And of course, Matey Boy was not having it. Called the judge over. Judge read the rules, had a look, and went, no, he's got it right. Yeah, you cannot encroach on the field. You can't encroach onto the field because it would be illegal. Therefore, you lose the game. And the guy lost his raging mind because of course he turned up to this tournament. I've got Blood Angel. He's obviously spent money. I've got Blood Angels, and I'm just gonna swamp it.
Oh man.
Don't have to worry about it. And then just this cheesy strat. It was just works.
That
It's
is,
just like,
I
yeah.
won't lie though, that's kind of brilliant. Like there's a guy, Andrew Cassidy, who is a great friend of mine who he's gonna hate me saying this, but kind of looks like Ron Jeremy now. Um, I love him. Cassidy is one of the nicest guys in the world. But there was this thing where anytime a Blood Angel will come down onto the field, it was like bloody Cassidy because he actually won, I think, 2 arcs and then top 10 like another three or four just playing Blood Angels. So there was this joke about just like, oh, doing a Cassidy by taking Blood Angels, which was kind of funny because obviously this year was the 25th anniversary and he actually came, which I was so rapt to see him, and took Blood Angels. Obviously, nowhere near as brutal a list as what he did, but it just made me laugh. And yeah, for whatever reason, he took the Blood Angels, and it just was just funny as hell. But yeah, it was, I don't know, like it, and I feel like ever since I've been told these stories about Cassidy, is the Blood Angels have just had like this weird stigma about them now to me, and then obviously hearing rules like this, I'm like, that
it
is very
it was
much that
always
same
it
stigma.
was really funny because when I came back to Warhammer the first time, which is when I started working for the company, because I played as a kid, and obviously that was back in second edition or I think it was second or third edition I started, but it was and I started off as everyone does. I was playing Ultramarines because they were the poster childs, and it's like, yes, I'll play Ultramarines. And slapping paint on. I remember that there was no such thing as priming in my house. There was no such thing. It was these models were choked, babe, choked, full of paint.
Oh
It was
man,
just so bad. But then, I just remember now. But back then it was like because there was so limited armies. But Blood Angels were painted, but they didn't have their own codex at the time. And then when I came back and started working for them, and I had to start learning everything, and I was like, oh my god, it's like some of these codexes are really broken. They went, yeah, we know.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, they are. So like the fact like the Necron codex was still out, and like that got re-released when I was working for them. But you could still run the original codex, and it was so stupidly powerful. And it's like, God, I mean,
Yeah,
don't
no,
get me wrong,
it's
but this is the thing with game systems, isn't it? Like with like Magic the Gathering has the same thing with power creep, as it's commonly called in the industry, which is, oh, we're going to release this new set, but we're going to make it good, we're going to make it punchy, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then suddenly it's like, you've done what? Are you kidding me? Do you realize what this one card in combination with this old card does? It's like, oh,
oh
we didn't
man,
think of
it's
that.
horrible, and that's the thing, and that's one of the joys of working at Arc that I love, and I think it's the thing that keeps coming me back is the fact that there's so many different stories, and every time you meet somebody new or you talk to somebody that haven't come in, and I think that's what's the most beautiful thing about this hobby
Mm.
is that you can have fun, you can go to your desk, you can paint at home, you can have a good old time, but then and then going to these kind of tournaments, there's things that happen that are just ridiculous, and there's things that make you special. Like there was this one tournament that I remember going to because a whole heap of the guys who I used to hang out with and used to paint with were going, and one of them was you got a second. So, for example, all your shooting candidates double. So you drove up to this thing, you activated it, and then for that turn, both teams had double shooting. So Matt Jackson, who was a guy I was talking about, he had Tyranids and did a whole heap of shooting, and I think he killed like one Marine off like
Yeah.
90 shots. Like it was ridiculous. But the Marine had a whole heap of bikes.
Oh God.
So which means that
Horses.
he would drive up, he would activate obviously the rapid fire,
Mm.
then he would get the double shooting, and then there was one Tyranid left, and it was running off the board,
Yeah.
and and then he rolled to try to make it turn around, then it obviously failed. And then I remember Scooter, who was playing him, actually said, "Do I go after it or do I just wait a turn and let it run off?" And instead, he literally sent about 30 bikes at it and just shot at it like stupid. And it's little stupid stories and it's little things like this that make this hobby something what it is.
yeah.
Whether it be like mucking around like Andrew Cassidy, where you're like bloody Cassidy, or where you have like, for example, Roger Burkett, who's actually an English dude, lives up in Queensland now, that comes to ARC the last 10 years. I think he just got Hall of Fame. But he had what would he call it? The death croissant. So he took NIDS and he had this black kind of like the black flyer for NIDS and had this massive skull underneath it. But then he also painted a French flag on the side, like on the side as a joke, just in small kind of thing. And he called it his flying death croissant because obviously if anybody that has seen the flyer, it kind of looks a bit like a croissant. And but little things like that is I feel
You're
like
not thinking of the Necrons. The Necrons have a flyer that is in a...
that's what I said, Necron flyer, the one that looks like a croissant. Huh?
Tyranid.
I could have sworn I said
Tyranid. I
Necrons.
swear, right, Editor J.
Well, you've got to edit this, so you can edit down underneath here. Sorry, Derek, you did say.
And when I do edit it and I show that I was correct, it'll be like
you did say Necrons, but yes, whatever it was. But no, but yeah, like and that's the thing, like even me not playing in a lot of these things, even just going and getting to know people, getting friends out of it, and then watching games where silly things like this happen. I don't know. There was something about this hobby that made me just fall in love with it, and I think that's what it is. Is it's just things happen. If it's as long as it's taken with lightheartedness and it's taken as it's meant to, as a bit of fun.
The question we got to ask ourselves is when am I getting invited to ARC? That's the question. When do I get an invite?
When do you get what? Sorry,
when do I get an invite to ARC? 40k.
Mate, you can come anytime. Like once my house is built, I should have a spare room, so feel free to come down to ARC.
1 second, babes. What was that?
He's gone. He's like, no, not having a bar of it. I have no idea what's happening.
We're back. Oh god. So
I don't even know what's happening.
Oh well, I've got a story for you, ladies and gentlemen. So while I'm recording right now, the wife took the boy out and the dogs out to do a nice gentle walk, and obviously, while I'm filming right now, the weather has turned yet again. So it's like nothing to worry about. She didn't take any keys with her. Then she went out through the garage door and pressed the shutter behind her. So as I was stood there listening to you, Des, suddenly my wife's at the window going.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm like, huh?
Because I did see you turn around and the look of confusion, but normally with Jordan's setup, you can normally hear if somebody's knocking on the door, if there's barking, but there was no sound. And I'm like, what is he looking at? So confused.
No, that was the
makes
thing.
sense.
Obviously, she didn't want to knock on the window and disturb what's going on, but she's like, I need to get the attention because it is because literally it's lashing it down out there right now. So
if she really wanted to get your attention, she should have stood out the window and done this. Yeah. That would have made Jordan dive out the window.
Ooh, I'm gonna tell her that, Des. You're gonna be in trouble for that one. And to be fair,
why?
Because you can't see how bad the weather is outside.
Are you telling me too though? If your lovely beautiful wife came out and did that at the window next to you, and you saw that out of the corner of your eye, mate, you wouldn't put that cape on and save and rescue that damsel in distress in about 8.2 seconds.
Oh no, I would have pressed cancel immediately on. Oh no, the power has gone out. I'm gonna be offline.
I think what would have happened is the podcast would have been delayed by 3 minutes, and then he would have come back more sweaty and his shirt on inside out.
Excuse me, 3 minutes, minute and a half. Come on, Paul. Come on, God, I'm not.
I'm not you got to get changed. You got to get changed again.
What are you on about?
Dab your forehead, and there's some cleanup involved.
3 minutes, God forbid.
And you had to finish, and he had to have a sip of his beer. He's like, all right, I'm back now.
Right. I know. Gotta stay hydrated.
Be rude not to. No,
sorry. Right, where were we
man.
before I got completely distracted?
Well, he was inviting himself to ARC, which I said.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. I tell you what, I am on the verge of. I need to have a look at obviously all the updated army rules because obviously I've not seen a codex for armies in a long time, so I need to have a look. But obviously, I could easily run Space Marines or Imperial Guard because, the Astra Militarum.
I only know it as. I actually got a massive box set of Imperial Guard. So this year we actually had a whole heap of sponsors and different people that put in things for a raffle, which I think I told you about, which I almost cried because I got drawn out second,
Yes, because
and
you
the
got drawn
first
out
guy
second,
didn't go until
for the
after it.
3D printer that you would eyeing up and drooling over. Yes, I remember you telling me that.
Oh, oh man, like even when I went, oh my god, yes, and I went, that's mine, and I got excited because the first guy, because normally at the end of the actual arc, if people haven't placed well, quite often there's normally about 10 or 20 people that will leave early.
Yeah.
If they don't think that they're in the top 20 or if they haven't played well, they'll normally do that because it is a long weekend. They'll often go home,
Well,
and that's
it's
cool.
not standard rule. It's same with the GP. People they'll play the first 3 rounds, and if they've lost the first 3 rounds, they know they're not making day 2. It's like, yeah, I drop. I'm gonna go play the side events and start
Yeah,
farming.
see, we don't have that. So normally, most people will still play the 6 games. You do have an occasional dropout between day 1 and day 2, and quite often that is because normally what happens is they haven't seen these friends in a year. They go out drinking and they literally can't get out of bed, or they come in super hangover and they play game 4, and then by game 5 they're like, I can't stand. No. So yeah, but yeah, it's bizarre because we don't have that much. But sometimes what happens is after they've played the 6 games, they're like, oh well, I haven't played that well. I know I'm probably not going to win an award, so I'll just go home. And you normally see like from the 200 people, you may have maybe 20 people. And I was just so shattered. I was hoping that he had gone home, but he had decided to stay because supposedly his mate had done quite well. And now I'm dirty on his mate for doing quite well, or at least telling him that he thinks he's done well because I want a 3D printer.
Oh, poor baby.
So, but that being said, if any 3D printing, resin 3D printers are out there listening and they want to sponsor me, by all means, I can offer you sweet FA. Except for, oh no, I could probably review it on my website.
You could review it, yes, you could review it, and we could talk about it on the chat on our podcast, ladies and gentlemen, which is available to listen to on all good podcast apps.
And even some bad ones.
And you can even see our beautiful faces on our YouTube channel or on Spotify while you listen to us.
You know what we could do? We could actually sell our heads. So we could go onto Fiverr or something like that. Get our heads modeled as 40k people, and actually sell the SDI files.
Because I'll want to put myself, because I have made obviously it was back in the day because I obviously was running Valhalla Ice Warriors as an army, and I created a custom model of Creed for Acadian Castellan Creed. But things have changed now. I believe he's dead now, or he's not. No, he wasn't. He isn't dead. He's been taken by one of the Necron lords, and he's been put in a museum or something. It's weird.
So that escalates
It's
quickly.
weird stepping back into it when you've had a good break off and things have moved a lot further forward than you thought they would have. But but I did have a custom Creed model, and obviously, but with a very different head for to fit in with my Valhalla Ice Warriors. But yeah, I would actually like to have me. That would be good.
We could make that happen. Also, the chances are the head would probably be. We'd have to make the head smaller because both Jordan and I have massive ass heads. So you might actually have it might actually look more like a bobblehead than
possibly
than anything else.
Possibly might. I tell you, funnily enough, obviously with the 40k stuff, I mean, one thing that's probably influenced me to start building this weekend is I've been playing because the Steam had it on. Well, they had a big 40k sale on with all the 40k games and all this jazz, and you could. I ended up spending some money because, because I couldn't help myself. But one game they gave away that was free was Warhammer 40k Gladius, which is basically Sid Meier's Civilization crossed with 40k. And basically, if you bought if you got the free game, it was like, all right, great, you can be Space Marines, Orcs, the Imperial Guard, and the Eldar. So those are the 4 standard races. And it's like, oh, great, so you could play the game, and it was full, and it was fine. But if you went to play all these other races, like the Tyrannies, the Tau, and all that, you had to buy the DLC, and like it was cheaper to buy the full bundle. So I bought the full bundle, because I was like, yeah, I want to play the Tau, I want to play the Tyranids, you know, because I literally listed off the ones I wanted to play, and by that time I was like, if I spend 5 more bucks, I get 3 more races. It's like, yeah, fine, let's just do it. So I've been playing that a couple of times this week, and yeah, you honest to God, you lose track of time playing it. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna play for half an hour. I'll have a quick half hour. Hour and 30 minutes later, I'm on turn 26. And it's like, yes, let's go.
Oh my god.
Alarms are pinging off at me because it's like, oh, I'm gonna go pick up Edward. Oh, I'm gonna go pick up Edward. It's like, yeah. So because I'm doing it on my
Wow.
lunch break, and so yeah, it's addictive, man. Yeah, it is really. And I'm livid. I was playing. I decided to fire up a game and add in 2 AIs this time. I thought because I started playing 1 AI and I was getting used to it, and I thought, right, let's do 2 AIs.
Yeah.
It is. I was playing the Tyranids and I was doing so well, and then suddenly I find both factions find me at the same time because obviously they've been coming towards me with through the
Yeah.
fog of war. Fine, no worries. Suddenly the Eldar have Titans, and I'm like, great. I need to unlock obviously my top level tier. Where's my Bio Titan? No Bio Titan. No. The biggest thing I've got is a Hero Jewel. It's like I'm like, right, fine. I produce one. I'm like, right, he's gonna come up. He's gonna smack these Eldar Titans down. It's gonna because it even says it's a walking 1-man army. I'm like, yeah, boy. It
That's
only
funny.
did 25% damage in full melee swing with Hammer of Wrath on as well. I was like, what is this crap? He's getting several shots off, and he's got 4 Titans walking at me. It was ridiculous. I was so livid. Yeah, so I ended up losing that game, and I'm not bitter about it whatsoever, as you can tell.
Oopsie.
God forbid. Stupid video games. Fucking winding me up. Oh.
It is funny. It is funny though how much you kind of get like really into it, and you're like, this is crap, and then before you know it, it just runs away with it.
It's typical of because I love playing the old Civ. I love playing the Civ games like back in the day when I was at uni and stuff. Because I just liked being hang on, I've got to think about this 5 turns in advance because I want to get to nukes, but you've got to jump through all the hoops to get to nukes. And it's like, how can I cheese it? Because it depends which starter one you've chose as well and all this jazz. So you've got to kind of think, I need to get coins so I can buy this and do that. And I also need to have development going on at the same time. So I've always liked the Civ games, but it's hilarious how I've suddenly playing it in a 40k sense and my mind can't translate all the knowledge I used to do into this. Because I think it's because I've just started playing the Orcs in my latest game because the Tau were really fun, but I thought I haven't tried the Orcs yet. I'm going to try the Orcs. God, I love the Orcs. I love them. They're so good.
Do the damn Orcs.
Until I bumped into some rogue Adeptus Mechanicus Castellan robots because they just happen to be in the exact place I need to go to for a quest. I'm like, oh, go away.
Jesus.
But yeah, so anyway, I'm getting addicted into 40k again. I need to rein myself in, and building models isn't going to help. But it's nice having the plastic glue back, as I said. It's nice having the plastic glue.
Yeah, I noticed you said that. It's like huffing glue. I'm like, wait a minute.
What? It's just one of those smells of melted plastic. It's like, so good. This is what we need.
No. He's like, no.
But anyway,
it's not. We don't need to huff glue.
Yeah, we definitely do not recommend huffing glue, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, I've just realised the time, and because he said it's to Jordan this week, I'm going to call it quits.
He's like, I'm calling it quits. Screw you
quits.
guys. You can deal with it.
But anyway, I want to say a big thank you to all our recent subscribers and all our old subscribers who keep following us and sharing and liking and all that jazz. As I said, we are available on all good podcast software, and as well as seeing our beautiful faces on Spotify and on our YouTube channel. You can find us at Dorks Down Under. And
that's the weirdest, man. Spotify having video now.
It was one of those things. I was watching another podcast, and then suddenly they went from the standard format to then suddenly they had a video, and I'm like, okay, all right, that's cool. And then I thought, well, hang on, they're not partnered. How have they got it? Because as far as I was aware, the only way to have it was to be partnered. And then apparently it was like, oh no, you just got to jump through this one extra hoop. And I'm like, okay, fine. Let's.
And Jordan's like, I'm getting my tutu on and I'm
Well,
jumping through
well,
this
no,
hoop, baby.
and I quickly messaged you because I think it was your week, and I said, just do me a favor, don't upload this one, upload this file instead, and we'll see what happens. And then, Lord and behold, it worked. I'm like, right, great, fam, let's just do that from now on. It saves us having to do another export and all this crap, and it just makes.
Yeah.
So thank you, Spotify, for making life simple. Thank you, dear Lord.
It's just bizarre, but I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it then.
Yeah, but no, it's good, and it's nice to have it and all that jazz. And I think it's most people are enjoying listening to me and you rabble on. And this is going to be another rabble on about 40k. We're going to become a 40k and MTG.
We do apologize.
We do apologize.
We are going to talk about other stuff other than 40k. It's just hard because I
wanted to talk about. I mean, I don't know if you watch it. I wanted to talk about Ted Lasso.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Everybody keeps telling me I should watch it.
Dez, you got to get on board. Honestly.
What can you watch it on?
On a completely, obviously, I highly recommend you check it out on Apple TV.
Oh, Apple TV. Okay, yeah, no, I have. I've got Apple TV.
You got Apple TV.
Good. Wait. Before I do that winking, are we on? We're on iTunes. Are we probably?
No.
We will get. I will buy.
If we are on iTunes, please let us know. We know if we're on iTunes or not. I don't know anymore. Like.
If we are, then I will definitely buy
every single podcast forum we go to. I'm losing the plot now. God forbid. But yes.
Yeah, no. That's the good thing is that's his baby because I'm like I don't know.
Yes. But anyway, yes. So I want to talk about Ted Lasso. So obviously, what I think I'll get you to do is watch some Ted Lasso.
Watch some, okay.
And then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
And how much of an amazing show it is because Ellie listens to the radio when she drives to and from work, sort of thing. And one of the producers on one of the whichever show she was watching was complaining about season 3. Of which point the other two were like, "Oh my god, how can you complain about it? It ties on beautifully." She went, "Oh, I've never seen season 1 or 2." So there was a big. You've watched it without having the context. What? So it was. So yeah. So I think we should save this for a very big episode.
That's like saying like watching like Star Wars 9 and being like, I don't get it. Why is this? And you're like,
yeah.
Did you watch the other 9 movies? Did you even watch the trilogy that it's from? Oh no.
No, but yeah, no, exactly. So that the producer who mentioned this on the radio show got absolutely torn to shreds because like you can't jump into the last book of a series and go, oh, I mean, it was all right, but I didn't quite get what the characters were talking about. It's like, well, no, of course you would, because you meant to follow it from episode 1. But yes,
it's just I don't know, it's just random. It's like doing.
I introduced Ellie to it, and I was like, look, you're either going to enjoy this or not, because I watched all of season 1 and I was halfway through season 2. And then they just got to season 3, and I thought, well, actually, I'll see if Ellie would like this, because, I think she might. And literally, I think we watched the first 2 episodes, because the standard rule in our house is, with a series, you watch the first 2, and if you're not gripped, you can say to the other person, I'm good. You enjoy you, I'll do me, no problems. That's the deal we have in the house, and it's great.
Yeah.
But literally, she watched the first episode, she went, pretty good actually, and I went, yeah, I know. I know.
This isn't completely shit. Like most of the shows you tried to make.
But yeah, it's legit, and we ended up we smashed through season 1. We got to season 2, and then of course we were on and then I got to the bit where I wasn't aware of what's going on, so we were enjoying it together. And then we finished season 3 this week. So people are
that's cool.
So we're both unhappy in this house because there's no season 4. There's no season 4 coming, and we're not happy.
Oh, really? Oh, there's no season.
There's no season 4. They end season 3 beautifully, fantastic. Not a complaint. Okay. I have no complaints about the finale. Which makes a change from Game of Thrones.
That's all right, because my biggest problem is there was a series that I love called Glades.
Okay.
Set in obviously the Florida Everglades. It was kind of like a cop thing, and it was a great one. And the way it ended was just horrid. And you're just like, what the hell? And like, I know that a lot of series now teams tend to end in a way that makes it so you're like, oh, excited to see the next season. The problem with that though is if they don't get picked up,
Yeah.
it just kind of dies, and you leave it with the worst ending ever. And if this isn't getting a fourth series, I was just hoping that they ended it in a way that wasn't completely and utterly pants.
Yeah, no, honest, they did such a good job with the ending of this, and and they bow tied 95% of everything. You know, because obviously with a TV show, there's always going to be, oh, well, they never addressed it. You know, there's always that, but they pretty much wrapped everything up perfectly for the finale, and it was like, yeah, we both agreed. It was like
That's all right.
We were like, yeah, that was a good ending to the show, sort of thing. You know, it left everything in a good place. But then, of course, we quickly, because I avoided looking to see if there was a season 4 because I didn't want to have a spoiler of season. Because you know when you type it in, is there season 4? And it says on the last episode when this happened, it's like, no, I don't want to know what happened. Don't tell me.
Oh, that's the worst thing, because I had Cherish the other day ask me a question about a series we were watching. I can't remember what it was. So I'm like, I'll Google it. And of course, when I Google it, it comes through with like, this person has done this, or this person this,
this
or
person won that.
fans shocked as this guy dies, and you're like, mother.
Yeah, honest to God, it was one of those things of, so I was like, you know what, I'm not touching, you know, because I remembered this time, and I was like, I am not touching this with the barge pole until I've watched the end of season 3, because I do not want a spoiler, because I was really enjoying season 3, and I was like, oh God, I want to find out.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing, is sometimes you just like, I want to Google it, or I want to know X, but I'm like, I haven't finished it yet, and it's going to ruin it. And crap.
But yeah, so it was one of those things. But anyway, so I do want to discuss Ted Lasso, but I'm aware of it's very niche. To be fair, I am very happy. I just found out last night that TVNZ have put all 12 seasons of Red Dwarf on on free. I am sorted for the next couple of weeks of what am I going to watch?
I won't lie, I haven't watched all of Red Dwarf in about probably 6 months.
Well, I tell you what, I'm about to go back through it, because why not? It's available for me to watch, and I love Red Dwarf.
Mate, I might have to get my VPN. Dude. I mean, I've probably got it. Like, the worst thing is, I reckon I've probably got it on about 6 different streaming. Six different hard drives, and it's probably on this computer right now.
Yeah.
Actually, let me check that, because I might actually have it on this computer right now, which would just be funny. Can I read? Yeah.
No.
No. Yes, I have it. I have it on the hard drive that's plugged into this computer, and I have it on this computer as well.
Right. Well, there you go then. Right.
Oops.
Now, of course, I've just sent you a link to, obviously nothing in particular that may interest you, but you may not. Anyway, but
I'm already starting to download it.
All right, perfectly. Anyway, so we just want to say a big thank you to everyone, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to wrap this up now rather than us whittling on. But we want to say much love, much thanks. Thank you for the likes, thank you for the shares, thank you for the interaction. If you could do us a favor and obviously let us know what you enjoyed about the episode. And obviously, if you have any topics you want us to discuss, we're more than happy to discuss it, provided we're actually aware of what the topic is. Which generally most of the time we're not, because most of the time we actually just turn it on and go, this is what we're going to chat about today. It's like, yeah, let's do that.
Or if you want an STL of Jordan's head for your Space Marine.
Oh, honestly, I would love to have. I think I would do well in a Valhallan Ice Warriors sort of, a Valhallan Ice Warrior hat, all that jazz. I've got a rough beard going on already. It would look really good as a commander model. Definitely, I could see you as a librarian in a Space Marine in Terminator armor. Although Angry Marines don't like librarians, do they? So I don't think you could fit in.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of screwed. I'd probably, my head's probably better suited for an orc, to be fair.
Oh, let's go, Hermes!
Or some chaos thing, where it's just like grotesque facing.
Anyway, much love, people. Peace out. Enjoy yourselves.
Layers.